You lads hear me? Right. So we're just going to give this a couple of minutes, lads, just for everyone who's coming up late. Notes up.
Yeah. So good.
Morning all.
Morning.
Like a proper man's club, innit, with our fucking mugs all drinking tea, like, ooh, just waiting for it. I'm obviously just waiting for the lofties that are late. While we're waiting, I got told last night via an email that I should be working with Putin because I'm such a Nazi with all my emails. It's the best hate mail I've ever had.
Maybe you could help him with his planning because that's shit.
Right, all right. Fucking hell, honestly, I'm going to have to start fucking dishing out beatings to people that are being late. I'm definitely in a salty mood. I'm just definitely in a really salty mood. It's because Darcy has been awake like 10 times through the night. She's an arsehole with her teeth coming through. Right, we're cracking on. People are late. It's tough titties. Okay, let's crack on. Where's my agenda? Here it is. All right, guys. I hope you're all good. So today we're just going to be mainly analysing how we can analyse and put into perspective issues and problems, right? Just a couple of housekeeping things that we need to just to clarify. So just to make sure that everyone is aware that who is doing this, and obviously this would be for a lot of the lads watching back as well, is that we got the Digby Dash at the end of the month. So whether you're walking, cycling, running, whatever you're doing, so it's for 13 miles, you've got the whole weekend to be able to do it. On the Saturday morning, I will be putting up the post to say Digby Half Marathon screenshots. What you need to make sure you do is take a screenshot of your 13 miles, you stick it in the comments of that post, and then what we will do on Monday or Tuesday is simply check everybody that has shown up to do that, and then we'll order the medal. We were going to order medals before, but just people weren't getting back to us whether they were definitely doing it or not. So we do that, and then that will be the first main coach medal of the year. All right. So just obviously make sure you got your preps and squared away for that. After this, if you don't already know, we've arranged the next mastermind meet, which I think is in mid-May. We're doing paintballing. Okay, so it's all of you lot versus me. And then we're going to be doing we've got a seminar. John's booked somewhere. So you'll notice, guys, that I'm fucking coming up north. All right, so that some of the guys that live up north can come down. So I'm making the effort to come up there. I expect you guys to make the effort to come down and meet me halfway or wherever you are. Okay, it's like a fucking 5-hour trip to see you monkeys. So like, I'm definitely looking forward to coming up. So please do your best to be there. I think the face-to-face groups are really powerful. They're enlightening. It's great for you guys to meet as well. It gets you away from your missus from the day and your kids, and you can just have a bit of a bonding session, all right? So I don't want any, or it's a family day. You've got enough notice now to put your chit in and try and get your permission off your missus to go and make sure that you can be there. It would be really great for everyone to be there. Happy with that? Second thing is we are 1 week into March, which means we've got about 3 weeks left until we start the new quarter. All right. The guys that I'm working with in the Accelerator program and the Elite Mastermind, I've already done their like Q2 plans. What I'm expecting from all of you is to start putting those Q2 plans in place, right? And one of the things that I want to point out in terms of your planning, I'm going to do a little bit of chat on this week, is simplifying your goals. It's not piling on or stacking up, like putting yourself under huge amounts of pressure. I'm going to come on to this with problems in a minute, okay? It's really, really, like, you don't have to achieve the world, guys. Like, you don't have to fucking achieve the world in Q2. One of the things that I really want to focus on for you guys is doing 1 or 2 things exceptionally well. So whether that is a morning routine, okay, whether that is your journaling, whether that is your relationship building, whether that is your health dedication, whatever that might be, I just want you to really be able to focus on a few things unbelievably well. All right. Okay, so I think we're going to move on to the main bulk of the session. So what I want you all to do for me, guys, with a pen and paper, obviously, or your phone if you haven't got pen and paper, whatever you want to do. And we might have even done this last time, but I want to do it again. I want you to write down, like, whatever's going on in your life right now, what you would consider 3 problems that you're dealing with right now, okay? Whatever they are. And I want you to write next to them how, number 1, how it's making you feel, and number 2, is it distracting you from what you're trying to achieve? All right, so just a couple of minutes to do that, guys. Oh, if anyone's unsure of the question, you just put it in the comments. So, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I want you to write down the top 3 things that are going on in your life right now that you would consider a problem or an issue for you. I want you to write down how it's making you feel, okay? And then I want you to tell me, is it distracting you from what you're trying to achieve in the brotherhood? And then once you've done that, I want you to write in the comments if you want to refer our group as the Mastermind or the Brotherhood. Too many questions.
Repeat that one more time.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling the brotherhood as well. Perfect. It's the brotherhood. Where's my notes? Here we go. Cool. All right, last minute, guys. Just wrap up that. Of course, Scott Dyer, that's going back some, wearing the hoodie, the old Brotherhood hoodie. Right, Mark Bishop, unmute yourself.
Yo, can you hear me?
I can't hear you, mate. I think it's because of your gay ear pods.
We could all hear.
Mm.
No. Send them back to the stores, mate. Back to Navy SEALs. It's like watching Charlie Chaplin in the old films, like with the hand movements.
JB, can you hear us? JB, can you hear me? Hello, JB.
Mm.
Send them back to Amazon, mate.
Can anyone else hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you, Jack.
Is it
We can
me?
hear each other.
I think it's you
James,
two.
you.
Yeah.
What a cunt. All right, hang on. 2 seconds. Oh, let's turn the volume up. Oh, I start doing press ups now. All right, Mark Bishop, I'm the cunt, not you. All right, let's do it.
That's brilliant.
Right, Mark. Mark's still having issues there, though, isn't he? Just unmute yourself, bro. Fucking hell, it'll be time to finish. Right, I'll come back to you, Mark.
Which Mark are you talking to?
The Mark who's frantically trying to sort his earpiece out. But as you're on, Mark, we'll go to you, mate. Yeah, you fucking get yourself back off mute.
Oh, fuck.
Right, what did you write down? What did you write down for your probs?
The main one is at the moment I've got a new team at work. I've been given a new team at work. I've got to get them up to speed and get them performing, and that's becoming overwhelming. And then on top of that, I've still got my old stuff to do and hit a target by the end of the quarter. And
your own stuff for your job role.
Yeah, so
okay.
I've got two kind of a legacy old role that I'm kind of starting to get rid of.
Yeah.
But then this new team that have just been put kind of, I've got to get them up and running. It's going well, but it's just that's my problem that's taking over my life at the moment. And it's
We've already answered that question I was going to ask. So how is it making you feel emotionally? So talk about the emotions that you're going through when you kind of, I guess it just doesn't leave you, does it really? That's the problem.
No, it's fear of failure.
Okay.
It's also kind of a bit of anger when somebody hasn't done what they said they were going to do.
Welcome to my world, mate.
But also, I will also say joy, because yesterday was a great day with them. They were, we actually got a load of stuff achieved. They actually did what they said they were going to do. Yeah. So yeah, it's actually been a good week. At the end of the week, the start of the week, it was shit, but it was all, that's the up and down piece of it.
Yeah. Why does any of it matter in the bigger scale of things?
Because I own the business.
Okay, but that's fine. But why? So in terms of you owning the business and running the business and trying to, but why does it matter so much to you? So why does it become all-consuming? I'm only just taking you through.
Yeah, at the moment we've had to right size a little bit, and this team we've identified a problem. Right. This team is fixing. Okay. So this team, the reason it's all encompassing is that this team is there to solve a problem. So
okay. How's it affecting you showing up as for you? Let's say on this movement that we're in the Brotherhood.
Based on what we talked about last time, my consistency is better. It's gone up from 4 to 6, definitely. Okay. But I could be definitely more consistent. I haven't. But it's affecting the morning routine, I suppose, about getting up. in the
Why?
morning. I suppose this is it, and everyone's suffering from this a little bit. The last few weeks, I've kind of been stuck in the house as such, because we've had work been done, and I've had to look after the dog and not been able to go out. And obviously, we're all working from home rather than still going into the office, etc., etc. And I don't feel I've got into my routine has totally gone to shit. And it's like, oh God, it's just another day of just sitting in the house, working from there. And that, I think, is affected me that way. This week I've managed to get into the office and actually spend some time with people, and it's getting better. But that's my planning isn't as good because things are moving. But having said that, what I have managed to do is actually plan more focus into what I'm going to do with that team so they can help them be successful. So time with them has got better, but time for me hasn't.
Okay. So with that scenario, we're just going to stick with that one example. And I'm not picking on you, just like, just up in here. So
you're going to tell me to go and run a marathon in a minute.
Yeah, pretty much. Stop fucking dripping. So like, what's the worst case scenario for you in that situation? What is the, so what's the worst case scenario if we go down this road?
The worst case scenario is that I find out is the people in the roles actually aren't the right people, and I have to change it out. That's the worst case scenario.
Okay.
So I'm doing something at the moment.
Scenario?
Pardon, sorry?
What's the best case scenario?
The best case scenario is they do everything they've been asked to do. We start to see deals moving, and everything's rosy.
Okay, perfect. Which one of the two scenarios do you think of the most?
Up until yesterday, probably the worst case scenario. But yesterday was a good day.
So that whole like 3 minutes worth of questioning is getting to that point, right? Of like, we think about a problem, we have those initial emotions of fear of failure, anger, and joy. So there's quite a mixture of there, right? We think of the worst case scenario, but we probably don't necessarily think of the worst case scenario. So for me, and this is for everyone, I'm not talking to Mark here, whenever there is a problem that we've highlighted, all of you have highlighted that, it then becomes the issue of worst case scenario thinking. Like, so one of the things that, and the reason that I wanted to do this subject is because dealing with it in January, like my mental health this year has been the best it's been for a long time. Coming off the worst year ever, I'm going into the best year ever. And I'm just trying to share with you why and my method of thinking in the morning. And my worst case scenario was always losing everybody, losing my business, not being able to pay for the house. A lot of it was triggered by moving house and coming here and the overwhelming pressure. So like my problem was we didn't have an ad account for 6 months. We couldn't advertise for 6. So all of these pressures built up. So my emotional reaction was overwhelmed. Exactly what you thought. Worst case scenario thinking. So for all of you guys, in terms of troubleshooting, so in terms of, I'm just going to put me on mute. Thanks for the answers, Mark.
No worries. Cheers.
So in terms of like when we have a problem, we need to have what I would call an SOP. So in the military, that would stand for Standard Operation Procedure. All right. So it's a standard way of dealing with a problem or something that's happening. Because when we initially get hit with the problem, I wrote these 2 little funnels down. All right. So there are 2 ways. So the first one is we get a problem. The natural thing that we do is react to the problem. Now, most of us will react either with anger, panic, fear. You kind of get that. You get goose pimples. Do you know that adrenaline? I don't know if it's an adrenaline pump or what it is, but we kind of get a shiver down our spine because there's some problem. All right. Whatever it is. And then it's like getting, I always talk about, not in the stomach, definitely. You get the punch in the face is what I would call it in the man coach terms, right? You get that punch in the face. And sometimes the problem can knock you on the floor. It's like when you get your gas bill in, you're like, fuck me, how am I going to afford this? When like you get a phone call from the school and they've asked you to go in to talk about your kid, just like your initial reaction is anxiety, stress, etc. So you can go problem, reaction, and then it becomes a distraction. Because what we do, it's like we leave our bodies to react to this problem, and everything that we've been working on just goes to shit. You literally just forget everything that you've learned. You forget your morning routine, you forget your evening routine, you forget your journaling, and you kind of go into I call a flat spin, and you can't all over the fucking place completely and utterly. And I want us to be able to handle the initial, I would say, 10 minutes better with our SOPs. All right. So I don't know if you watched Peaky Blinders, but we're watching it on catch up and we're going through it. And we just started watching episode 5. And for those, I won't go into too much detail, but basically one of the characters put all their money in the stocks, and it was the big crash in 1929, and they basically lost all of their money. And it was really interesting because when he got told, the main character was called Tommy Shelby, and I was watching his reaction and the immediate anger and the immediate frustration, and you can see it in his face, and it's very much what I see in a lot of people when they face a problem. But then what he did do, which I thought was brilliant, and obviously it's not real life, but he took himself away from the world for 24 hours. So he literally went, I think he's based on being a gypsy gangster. Basically, he went to the woods, lit a fire, sat there and just thought and processed how he was going to get out of this situation. Now, when we do this, I've put here, problem initiates, okay, then you need thinking time. And I always think that I always put 24 hours on any problem that I have, because if you told me something right now and it would become a problem or distraction, the way that I feel about that in 24 hours is going to be different. Because number one, I'm going to have accepted that problem, dealt with that problem, consumed that problem, put it into perspective, and I'm going to have a different view on it. And the way that we handle ourselves in that first 24 hours is what I feel is really important. Number one, I think that we should write down all the worst case scenarios. I think instead of manifesting them around your brain consistently over and over and over again and carrying it around with you, I think you should sit down with a piece of paper, write down the problem at the very top, and write down like as many of the worst case scenarios as you possibly can. Okay? Get it actually out of your system and confront the worst case scenarios, so you are not continuously letting it distract you. Does that make sense to everyone? Then next to it, write down all of the best case scenarios that can come from this. All right. And you might have heard me talking a lot about this on social at the minute. How do we flip this? How do I flip this? Okay. So that's where we start writing down, man, what is the best case scenario here? Like all of them. What this initially will do is help you master your emotions over the problem. And emotions completely control us a lot of the time. They dictate your actions, they dictate your moods, they dictate your reactions, they dictate how you're going to handle that problem. And obviously, we're trying to build up this character of this elite operator mentality, right? And I often think about in Afghan, when you're going out on patrol and you're putting yourself in a position of like danger and stuff, there's problems everywhere. There's fucking minefields, IEDs, people shooting at you. And it's like, you can't afford not to be calm. You can't afford to have a panic mentality. And I almost want you to like put perspective on actually this problem that I've got here. I mean, it might be just a fucking minor problem, guys. Like, and this is the next point I'm going to come on to in a minute. But you kind of have to look at it and look at the severity of the problem. When you look at it and you kind of go, right, bang, this is the problem. Number one, is it life-threatening? Is it going to make me pregnant? Is it going to fucking fuck me up? Is it going to ruin my day? Is it going to risk my life? Is it going to risk the life of someone else? you have to categorize what the problem is for you, and only you can do that. The way that I categorize a problem is easy solvable, it's going to take a couple of days, or it's a major problem. Okay, so the one that will take a couple of days, I can usually either do part of that myself or get someone else to help me deal with that problem. Okay, it's not really an issue, it's something that I can fucking deal with, or something that will go away, or something I don't have to attend with. A major problem could be something that I really have to kind of stop what I'm doing and deal with the problem. Okay, so you have to categorize for you your green, yellow, red scenario. So green being obviously the least priority, red being it needs your fucking attention right now. Now, I would probably say that any problems that come under the green light don't necessarily need you to go through your SOPs. It just means you'd need to stop for 5 minutes and go, is this really a fucking problem? Like, no, it's not. Amber, like, okay, who do I need to help me solve this problem? Bang. And the reason that I'm going through this in such detail is because I don't feel enough of us handle our problems quick enough or efficient enough. So what I then end up getting is reading down the Brotherhood feed is that, oh, I've had this little thing, it's distracted me. I've had this little thing, it's distracted me. And the only thing that's stopping you being 10 times better than what you are right now is most likely fucking problems. Whether they're physical problems, mental problems, emotional problems, other things that are going on around you. Problems. Okay. And I think once you start to focus more on solving the problems, mastering your emotions about the problems, staying within the realms of what you're trying to do and improving yourself, you don't get suddenly fucking knocked off the path down over here. Okay. So if your path is going from here, right across my screen to here, from A to B, that's Q2 plans. When you get problems, you end up going up here. There's another problem here, and you're constantly coming off track. And that's why consistency is affected. That's why the results that you're looking for are not what you want. That's why sometimes you go into emotional and mental states that are very difficult to get out of. Avoidance is the worst thing that you can do with a problem. Confronting a problem, manifesting it in your mind, dealing with it in your mind, sticking it in its category, and fucking taking action with it so it's dealt with. Make sense? Let me just check the notes.
Yes.
Okay, so perspective. So this all stems, guys, here, right? I think I told you all about this last time. I told you to go in. I told you to go and do this, right? In terms of the last consistency one, getting out the house in the first 10 minutes of the morning is absolutely essential to the way you handle your problems. It is the sure one thing that helped me last year in getting out, and this year, getting out within the first 10 minutes and going through the perspective, reflective, and logical thinking process. So when I get down to seafront, I do my 2 minutes chat and shit on Instagram for those that follow me on Instagram. I then put that phone away and then I walk just 50 minutes and I just think about everything that's going on, like everything that's going on, like all of that. That's where I start doing my categories and my problems. Okay, what's standing out? What are the issues? What am I looking at? By the time I finish that 50 minutes, I've managed to go through everything I've just gone through with you guys there in my head and come back with either a solution or I'm satisfied that it's no longer a fucking issue. Okay. If we're being really blunt, a lot of the things that we do have going on in our lives are not necessarily problems. Now, when we look at some of the shit that's going on in the world, if we look at Russia versus Ukraine, it's terrible, right? And a lot of the time I find myself bringing myself back to that situation. So when I'm thinking about fucking software that hasn't downloaded on my phone or on my computer, or I'm thinking about my fucking boy fighting at school, and I'm thinking, well, these are not really fucking problems. Like, they are problems, they're important, they matter to us. But if you can get to that higher level of thinking where we go, it is a problem, but it's not a problem that's going to consume me. Okay. There are certain elements or certain scenarios where it would consume you. Your country being invaded, being told you've got 4 months to live or got cancer, losing an arm or a leg. Like, when it comes to panic mode and when it becomes to like really having to pull out all the stops, one day, touch wood, none of us get it, but there's scenarios that just put into perspective what our problems are. So when I was talking to Mark about those everyday work problems, they're good problems. Like, Mark's got his own business. Like, when you look at this, and I look at Mark, I could probably go through every single one of you, go through your problems and go, that's a fucking good problem. Do you know what I mean? Like, me complaining that we're too busy is a fucking good problem. Do you know what I mean? Like, rather than being like, right, babe, we're gonna have to sell the house. Like, so it's perspective for me is the front door to you understanding how to handle your problems better. The better you can do that perspective, the quicker you can find that space to be able to find that perspective. Now, for me, that's at 4:30 in the morning, walking down the seafront with nobody around me, no distractions. No one's been able to poison my mind at this point. So I just literally wake up, I go out the door. The only possible person that could piss me off is Jessie the dog. And I just fucking go out and walk. And there's nothing distracting you. And your mind is as fresh as it possibly could be, right? It's as fresh as it possibly could be. To put into perspective everything about where you are, about what you're trying to achieve. And I often always say, remember where you were before you were even in this brotherhood. So before you were here and doing this, what type of problems did you have then versus the problems that you have now? Look at how you react to those problems back then to how you react to them now. So there's always a flip side. There's always a bonus. There's always a shining light that really puts perspective on what we're trying to achieve, right? Does that make sense to anyone? Does everyone here feel like that they can handle problems better? So what we do, guys, because we've got time, what I want to do is maybe just open up 15. I want this to be this topic related. So don't talk to me about calories or training. I want this to be specific about what our topic is right here. And if anyone has any questions about this or wants to understand or needs something, then this is that time to kind of share those questions, okay? If you do. Or anyone want to share something that they're doing. Let's go, RSN, Stephen.
Hello, mate.
How you doing?
Good, you? So I wouldn't normally talk because I don't think my problems are that significant, and bearing in mind what you just said about perspective, they're not, but I think this will be maybe common across your group, and it's the impact of the divorce. So my divorce is dragging out. It's gone on far longer than I wanted it to. It's obviously going to have a psychological impact. It's having a massive financial impact to the point of this month I got £1,000 solicitor's bill. Yeah. And I'll have to watch how much petrol I'm putting in my car, how much food I can afford and stuff like that. And I don't normally live on the breadline, so that's quite new to me. Obviously, being in the mastermind and having control of my day, my routine, clarity, planning is absolutely critical. But I mean, I'm really getting down into the weeds now with my planning, my budget and stuff like that. And I'll pick my boy up from school. He's only 5. What do you want to do? And my girl, and he'll say, should we go and have a pint? And I can't even take him down the pub for a Coke and a packet of crisps because I've got to watch the pennies to the end of the week. So I imagine that I wouldn't be the only one in this boat. I know how to deal with it, you know, but I suppose the more people that
it has an emotional distraction, doesn't it? Because like
massive.
Yeah.
You talk about being all consuming, and it's really difficult for it not to be the last thing you think about before you go to bed and the first thing you think about when you wake up.
Yeah.
I'm constantly having to distract myself away from thinking about that.
Yeah.
And becoming angry and resentful because the frustration's there every day.
I get it. Yeah, like man, like I totally get it, and I resonate as well because like when I left the military as well, and I went to go and teach at the college, and I took a 16 grand pay cut when we left. I was on sergeant's wages, I was on fucking really good wages, and obviously you live in barracks, so it's like living on like holiday Butlins or something, right? With like hardly any cost. It costs you 60 quid a month to live there with food, and suddenly when we come back, like we were broke, and then I got divorced, and then I left my job to work for myself. And, we were living off Tesco. And it was very, very hard because I couldn't afford to put heating on when it was just me. When the kids come round, that's when I would put the heating on. I was the same as you. I didn't have a car. I used to ride to work, and I used to live off the blue and white tins of fucking Tesco value baked beans and bread and stuff. So going that was a decline from being a sergeant in Royal Marines all the way down to like, oh my God, and then getting the first repossession notice of my house in because I just literally couldn't pay it, like I had no money. And it emotionally completely distracts you from trying to improve yourself. How can I possibly improve myself when I'm so emotionally consumed? But I often think that, like what I was mentioning there, when we make a positive plan, and when we can create a blueprint of, look, this is hard right now. This is not going to be forever as well. This is the perspective thing, right? Is number one, this is not forever. Like, this is not forever. Number two, there's going to be an end to this at some point. And for you, and you'll understand this, it's just being in the trenches for the next 3-4 months, right? And not allowing it to completely consume you. But like every single morning, this is what I would do, is every single morning, I would confront it on that morning routine in terms of like, this is the problem, this is the situation, this is the problem, this is what I can control, but this is what I can't fucking control. So all I'm going to do is that I've paid attention to all of it. I've paid it. It's like an intention. Problems are like attention seekers. They want all of your mind, right? It's like a kid, right? It's like an 8-month-old kid who just wants your attention all the time. And your brain just wants to consume and manifest in that, like, I want you to suffer all of the time. So confront it. So like 50 minutes, 30 minutes, write shit down, brain dump it all. Like, here's what I can control. Here's what I can't control. Here's the situation. Here's my hopeful deadline. And this is what I'm going to, like, I fucking dealt with that now. Now I'm going to allow myself to get on with my life and fucking move forward on this path. Yep, I guess what? It still might pop in your head. But if you spend a good amount of time, instead of avoiding thinking about it, actually confront it and then get on with your day, it might over time start making a difference.
Yeah. Well, I did that. I've written some stuff down. You're absolutely right. Talking about reflecting on the position of where you were to where you are when it gets difficult. And I know I've improved as a person. I know my mindset's better. I might even be actually healthier and fitter than I was when I was in, which is something. But to think of, the score, I was a VIP basically. Yeah. And now I'm struggling to put food on the table, so it's embarrassing, isn't it, really? But you would think that, like, I think, like, that's the ego.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I know how high your position was. Like, anyone that was in the military would know RSM is like, fucking hell, you shit yourself when you walk past them on camp, right? They're like fucking the god. Everyone thinks of him as Chuck Norris, fucking, or Arnold Schwarzenegger, fucking. But I get where you're going from. I get where you're coming from, because, like, when you come out, no one gives a fuck who we were or what we did, right? No one. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? And that's really hard. I found that really hard to take when I left the military. I was like, I've done all of this shit. And everyone's just like, and like, do you know what I mean? I go down to fucking Weatherspoons every night. You know what I mean? I'm a fucking local scrap. Like, but I get it, and I get what you're saying. It's definitely not embarrassing at all. It's just the way that life has panned out. But perspective is that you're in control. You're around good lads. You're still a great dad, and you've grown as a human being as well. And I think even since you've been in here, you've de-regimented yourself slightly, even to the point where you speak in here. I think it's the first time you've ever done it. And I think it's the first time you've opened up, which shows huge progress and a reduction in the ego to go, I'm fucking going to put my hand up and decide, this is what I'm going through, which for everyone here should really know the magnitude of what that is about. Do you know what I mean? Good man.
Cheers.
All right. Well
All
done.
right. Thanks, mate.
Jan?
Morning, mate. All right.
Yeah, you?
Yeah, not too bad. I think mine's thinking about the biggest things that consume me. They're things that are arguably outside of my control, but things that I don't quite know how to deal with, and I think that's the biggest problem. And it's around children. And I think whatever problems I've got going on in my life, most of them I don't really care about. But when it comes to the children and the court cases that I'm going through at the moment, that's the bit that I think I struggle with the most. And the irony is that the two children that are the focal point of the battles that I'm having, one of them is biologically mine, and therefore I have the court case and I have the system that whether or not I get what 1 or 10 in terms of access or whatever, I know something will come out at the end of it, and that'll be okay. It's the bit that always gets on my mind, and the ex uses it as the weapon, is the other little girl who's not biologically mine, although I think of her as my daughter and she thinks of me as dad. And it's that I constantly, that's my biggest battle at the moment, because anytime there's any difficulty in the process, the ex will inevitably use that as a weapon to sort of kind of threaten that I won't see her as much because I don't have any court assurance around that. Very little I can do to control it. And I think that's what I struggle with the most. I know it's something that I can't control, but it's still a situation that I don't, that buries me. You know, it feels like, you know, those comedy things where you get somebody goes on the floor and then a couple of people jump on top, and then more people jump on top and more people jump on top, to the point where you feel like you can't spring out because you've just got so much on top. And I think it's figuring out how to deal with the fact that she might well take the little girl away from me, and there might be nothing I can do about it. And it's how to come to terms with something like that I don't want to happen. It's not a nice situation, but equally I can't control it. But I don't feel like I can just go, oh well, I can't control it, therefore I won't care about it, because it's kids and it's an emotional thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think in that situation, there's like you said, there's nothing you can do about it, but it shouldn't stop you still like loving that person or that girl. And, you know, I think when things get so emotionally involved, emotions are always high. Do you know what I mean? And like all the threats and everything should only pose as fire for you to be able to control yourself even more. I know that if that was being threatened to me, I think it's a great, you know, I always talk about being tested. Like everything that happens in life for us in here is a test of what we're training. We're educating ourselves, right? So we're training. And there's a case, can you hold your nerve and composure to go, right, okay, I'll just make a note of that, and that's going to make me even more determined to make sure that I get some form of access of some sort. You know, I think in realistic terms, it's going to be very difficult to get that access if not biological yours, and there has to be a level of acceptance behind that. Do you know what I mean? There has to be like a level of acceptance. There's not really a lot that you can do, and beating your, and this is where a lot of people beat themselves up and beat themselves into the ground and turn to drink and turn to food and stuff like that. So it becomes like you end up digging yourself your own grave. So there has to be a level of acceptance, you know, in that. In terms of when it comes, so like with my boy, like we're having real trouble at the minute. Like, you know, he's got through the system and he's definitely got autism or ADHD or something. It's becoming worse and worse and worse under the pressure of GCSEs. You know, and we've been into the school and stuff like that. So that, you know, I'm desperately trying to control the situation without it becoming emotional, you know, and it does become emotional. You're like, you know, there's tears at night. You're like, I just don't know how to do this. So the only way I know how to get him out of him is to train with him. So like we started yesterday, I got him up at 6:30 in the morning. So this is what I can control. So when it comes to the problem, what I can control is, okay, there is an issue somewhere with him. It's not about getting his GCSEs now. It's about getting him ready for life over the next 4 years. Like, you know, GCSEs, A-level, all of that is secondary. I need to get him mentally right in the head. So what I can control is I'm going to get him up at 6:30 in the morning. We're going to go to the gym. We're going to train together. We're going to do stuff together. you know, I have to make some sacrifices to be there. And it's that level of, all right, that's what I can control. So what you write down is like, what can I control in this situation? And cling on to those things and focus on those things. You can control still how much you love her. You can control how much you want to see her. Do you know what I mean? Those feelings don't just go away. Do you know what I mean? You can write letters. You can still send them to her. So, and you say, look, I just want to send these letters to her. And if she decides not to give them to her, that's going to come back and bite later down the line, right? So the things that you can do. The things that you can't, accept.
Yeah. That's good. It's a difficult one because I know, you know, you can't control certain things. There's nothing you can do about them.
No.
I think you're right. It's that acceptance, and I suppose freeing myself from guilt, because I almost feel guilty about the fact that if I stop caring about the fact that I can't control it, I almost feel guilty that it means I'm not caring about her and about the situation.
When it's family, when it's emotional problems, everything's 10x'd. Everything. Like, I should have done more for Bailey as a kid. I should have been more there for him. I should have got more tests. But I just couldn't afford it. And like, it's that persistence that I should have gotten diagnosed early to get more. But you can't like shoulda, coulda, woulda. Fuck that. It's like now, like, but what I can control is how these next 6 years pan out for Bay, leading up to him being 20 and making sure that he's ready for life. So that's what I can control. All right. So now I've turned the problem, I've flipped it, and I'm gone, right, okay, it is what it is. We are where we are. Now we fucking crack on. Okay. But
yeah,
you know,
cool.
yeah. Keep your chin up.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Ian.
Yeah, I just want to say about the acceptance. The last two speakers have resonated. I'm going through divorce, and it started it in May 18, and still haven't got the financial thing. And
Mark, did you say 2018?
2018, yeah, May 2018. My solicitor said it would go well unless the other side is awkward. So it's not going to go well then. So, so that's dragging on. So I'm in limbo financially. I'm renting, which I love. I love my flat. I love the location, so that's fine. But the biggest problem, one that floored me, was from Jan 19 until last July, I wasn't working. I got signed off from work, depressed, and had a breakdown really. And I think the only thing which really helped is accepting that it will change at some point.
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, I did Buddhism courses, and that's one of the biggest things in permanence. So it's shit at the moment, all good, but it will end, and it could be far worse. I mean, the children could be dead or never see them. But at some point they'll become adults, and I can see them, or they'll see me when they want to, when they can control their lives better. Yeah. But it's accepting that I can't control it, and I just have to let it
be what it is.
Yeah, let it go. It sounds horrible, like Jan said, but it is almost that. I mean, my routine is now, I don't really think about the girls until Thursday and Sunday when they're allowed to phone me. And otherwise it's just too difficult, because I try and phone them, out of the phones to them, I don't answer.
Yeah.
I asked to change it to a time that's more convenient for me, not doing that. So if I fight, I just get worse and worse. So just accept that.
Yeah.
I've got children like 2 hours a week.
Okay.
And once or twice a year.
Okay.
But it will change once they're older.
That's what you've got to keep in your head.
Yeah.
Like I often find within these situations, I feel quite passionate about it, and I've got to be careful how I say this. But I always find that when children are used as pawns within a divorce or within a relationship, I always feel that like you can only do that so long before the children become an age where they want to see you. And for me, the people that are the orchestras who orchestrate the blockage of viewing are the ones that relationship is damaged the most.
Yeah, I've heard that from other people like who are my age but were children at that point, and now I've got a relationship with my father now. I don't like my mum anymore.
Yeah,
things like that. I've heard
that, and it becomes like, and it's a clear case of when you think of the long game, when you think of long term, like people that do that, man, it's going to come back and bite.
Yeah, I think that's right. My solicitor said the same. I mean, well, everyone says the same, but I've got a female friend who's in her 50s who gets on better with her dad now than her mum, and other friends who had a similar sort of situation, I think. So
And it is one of those things. You're quite right in what you're saying you have to do, because if you continually consume yourself with it, you'll be constantly in a low mood. You'll be constantly feeling sad and depressed. And what that is going to do is actually not put you in a really great position to actually, when the day comes round to then wanting to be, you want to be, and this is how I guess I would look at it, is that I know that one day they're going to come back round. I know that one day I'm going to be seen and read continuously. So I'm going to be, when they meet me, I'm going to be that fucking best version of myself. I'm going to be that guy who is fucking on top of myself. I'm all over it. And they're going to like, this guy is fucking legend. Like, do you know what I mean? And that, anyone that I've come across this situation is what I've always said, is always gone, just prepare yourself for that day when you start having that relationship. You can either be the drunk in the pub who is allowing it to consume them, or you can be the fucking elite operator who's ready to open them without bitterness to anybody else, show no bitterness to the other parties, because that shows a higher level of thinking and maturity and a higher level of focus. And it's going to be clear to the people involved, okay, that you are level-headed, that you are in that place. Listen, the reason that a lot of this happens is because, like, people get just angry, bitter, jealous, angry.
Oh no, yeah, that's how I think that's how it happened. She's a very angry, bitter person.
Yeah, and we don't. I mean, we don't need to go like. I don't want to go down that road, but it's like it usually is a case of that, and it's your job to make sure we rise above it and actually just keep moving forwards to be that guy when that day comes.
Yeah.
Good man. Good sharing. Thank you. Anyone else, guys? We all done? Okay, so I need Jack and I need Mark Bishop to stay on at the end. I also need the guys on my 8-week accelerator program. I think it's Heath, Glenn, and Ben. All right, guys. I'll make sure this is recording stuck up. If there's any issues, just let me know. Reach out to me, guys.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
everyone.
JB.
Have a good
Good
one.
evening.
See you, guys.
Easy. Bye.
Cheers,
Cheers.
Bye.
Nice one. Cheers, mate.
Glenn, are you there? Yeah, great. Right, cool. Glenn, I'll come to you in a minute. Ben's gone, hasn't he? The lads are gone. All right. Let me just see. Okay. Cool. Let me deal with Jack and Mark first. So Jack and Mark, so next, you're going to be in, I think, Mark, you can sign up late. John's going to get in contact with you on Monday to put you in our WhatsApp group, okay? So they're going to be 2 different groups, okay? There's going to be 2 different groups. And Glenn, this is actually relevant for you as well. We're going to put you 3 in the Elite Mastermind WhatsApp group with all of the guys that are in there at the minute. That is where you are going to do your accountability. Okay, so the additional, Jack and Mark, you don't know about this yet. I will teach you about this. But Glenn, you know the additional evening accountability that you're doing and the morning gratitude stuff that we're starting to introduce. Okay, that's where you're going to do the additional accountability. Okay, Mark and Jack, I'll go through this with you. Jack and Mark, can you come to Birmingham on the 19th of March? No.
I just need to check. I'm looking at doing Mrs. getting back from the States just the day before, so I just need to check childcare and stuff.
Okay.
But should be okay. I'm going to try and work it.
That's fine. All right, great. So Jack and Mark, we will go next week. We're going to start doing some prep work. Okay. John's put you in a separate group, which is the Accelerator Group. So there's 2 WhatsApp group. One is just literally going to be where I ask you to do tasks and give you clear direction. All right. So it will literally just be a case of when we're building your mission, your 10-year vision, when I'm asking you to do tasks and stuff like that, that's where you're going to do it. And then the Elite Mastermind is where you're going to kind of like talk about your journey, do that extra accountability. I'll make it super, super clear. We've got the whole of March to make sure that you integrate yourself into that so that you're on top of your game in that point and situation. Glenn, we're going to do the same with you. All right. I'm going to put you in Elite Mastermind to do all of the accountability and stuff, etc. And I'm going to use the group that you're in now to be able to dish out tasks and stuff that I want us to do, because I want to, again, work with the boys, work on that 10-year vision, that level of showing up in terms of the tasks and stuff that I actually get you to do. All right. Does that make sense? Okay. Jack and Mark, I'll be in touch next week. We'll get you into the group. I'm going to probably put you into the Elite Mastermind, not next week, but the week after, to start watching and seeing what's happening within the guys. If not next week. So don't feel like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I just want you to start observing what the guys are doing and the level of engagement that's in there. All right. Are there any questions at this point? Glenn, I'm going to talk to you in a minute once I've set the boys off.
Is the stuff we're going to do in the Elite Mastermind on top of what we're doing in the kind of normal morning routine?
Yeah. So basically what will happen is that, so the things that I asked you to do in Elite Mastermind, basically we do an additional accountability, which is your biggest win, your biggest obstacle, and your biggest area for improvement. Okay. And you'll score yourself overall. And it is what has worked really, really well is like a forced process where you review how you are doing. It allows me to know how you're doing as well. So that level of accessibility, when I can read and look at it, I can kind of know where you both are and what you're doing, okay, in that level. Every single morning, what the lads are doing is sticking a picture up, is like we're doing the 3 things that we're grateful for. So we're really engaging with the community and ourselves. What you will do, or what I'll probably ask you to do, is still do your planning in the mastermind. So the Saturday post, the Wednesday mid accountability stuff, and then obviously all the other 3 are very additional, but we're going to be changing it next quarter anyway, to make it more about consistency and clarity. Okay. So if you want to do, they're additional anyway. Okay. I still want you to do your 1 personal accountability post a week in the mastermind. Okay. And once you're on this journey, it'll be very reflective. What I both need you to do is, for the 4 pillars, is think about 1 thing you want to achieve per pillar in 12 months. Okay. And I want you to do that by the end of next week for me. Growing up, Jack. Proper shoulder burn. Cool. Are you both happy for now, Mark and Jack? Yeah?
Yeah, good.
Cool. All right. And then next week, we won't communicate on the app anymore, just purely through our WhatsApp group, not the Elite Mastermind, but the group that, and Mark, you'll be in that by Monday when John gets in the office.
Okay, right? Sure.
And then
cool.
That's how we communicate. Or if you need to ask me something personally, you just message me on the phone now, not the app. So it's more direct.
Okay.
All right. Good. Happy?
Yeah. And is it, does it formally kick off, like next week or the week? Oh, April. Okay, fine.
April. So we got
a few weeks to get up to speed.
Yeah. Like that's why I like to get this done now, so we can get fully prepared. And like when you walk in, so it will be day 1 will be April 4th.
Okay, cool.
All right. And by then you'll know exactly what you're doing. You would have been in Elite Mastermind for 2 weeks by then, so you'll start seeing what's happening and how it's rolling.
Okay. Is there like a seminar on day 1, or is it?
No. So So we've got to. I've got to do. I'm doing all my dates next week for when all the Elite Mastermind Zooms will be.
Okay.
And that will include for you, Glenn, as well. So all of those calls and stuff in terms of more private type of coaching scenario. you'll have all of those dates, so you'll know when there's gonna be a meet in Q2 specifically just for the EMM. So you'll end up coming down to Bexhill for a day. Glenn come last time, didn't you? And we just do some training for the day, just get together for the day, have lunch together, and kind of like do a mid-quarter review, so to speak.
Yeah, brilliant.
All right. Okay. So I'll get all those dates to you by the end of next week.
Yeah, great. I kind of asked because I'm away beginning of April for a few days.
It's fine. It doesn't matter.
Okay, fine.
Like when you think about what you're going to do and the level that you're going to be working at, like is my aim is Accelerator program is really for you doing the 12-week one. It's really to do like 7 months worth of work in 3 months. So, you know, that escalation of having to show up and work and set your standards like here, as well as being in a group and like pressured. Not pressured is the wrong word, but squeezed, I think, if you like.
I think we need that.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Otherwise, you'd just be fucking sinking in your sinking sand.
Yeah, coasting.
Coasting is the word. Oh, yes, I always forget that word.
Coasting in a world of faff.
Fucking faffing. Right, mate. Right, boys. Okay. Mark and Jack, I will catch you next week.
Okay, cool, mate. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. Big man, can you hear me? Let me unmute you.
You hear me?
Yeah, got you. All right, cool. So I'm going to record this part and put it in a group for Heath and Ben. So over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to slowly transition you over to the Elite Mastermind, so you can be part of that mastermind. It just works better if you're in a bigger community, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I say bigger, there's only like 15 lads in there, but it's on fire, and I really think that you lads will benefit being in there. Okay, so Heath and Ben will be watching this back hopefully as well. We're going to use the group that we've been communicating in to work up and build up your mission, okay, and hold you account and find out how you're doing in terms of your 6-month goals. So what I'm trying to get you to do is those 6-month goals that you set, I want us to complete them by the end of the 8 weeks. All right. So we're looking at the end of roughly around the end of April, start of, I hate wishing time.
Yeah, I think it was like the beginning of May.
Yeah, kind of like start of May time. That all of those things that you set yourself in 6 months, that's what we're trying to aim for, right? So the morning, like showing up in the mornings, like with the pictures and how you're feeling, and the evening additional accountability. And on the Sunday, what we do is we do like a review of what you said you were going to do, and then a focus on what you're going to do. So it's kind of similar to what you do on the Saturday, but it's a little bit more focused towards your 6-month goals that I've set you, all right? So I've asked you to do that. 2 secs, sorry.
No worries, mate.
Are you all right?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she was screaming because she hurt herself. Fucking hell, kids.
Yeah,
so yeah, it just bringing that higher intensity to the level that you're showing up. Yeah, for you, Ben. Okay. It's about really investing in that like higher time, because each week to try and achieve that 6 months, your workload will probably be a little bit bigger, right? It's like, my God, I've got to fucking achieve this to get to there. Right? One of the lads said that he wanted to create his house extension in a year. And I said, right, we got 12 months to do it. He obviously didn't finish it, but he did 8 months worth of that work in that 12 weeks, simply because of like higher level of showing up every single week, which is why when I asked you to break it down, you kind of got your checkpoints about what you need to achieve that 6 months. And even if we get 80% there or 70% there, that's a lot further than we probably normally would if we were just going up standard operationally. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, I'm good. I'm good to go at the minute. Yeah, so I feel really focused and kind of heading on the right path. So
enjoying it?
Yeah. It's great. Yeah, kind of thought when the alarm goes off at 4:30 now, it's roll straight out.
4:30, are you in a 4 o'clock?
Yeah. I've dropped it 15 minutes. Dropped down to 4:30. So
I started off obviously I went through the things, but I remember when I was 4:45, and it was inconceivable to think that I would ever go to 4:15. And I probably could do with going to 4 o'clock, but when does it stop?
That's kind of what I was thinking. Oh, I could just squeeze this little bit much more in if I dropped it 15 minutes and yeah, I think I probably won't go past 4:15. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I think you don't need to. You really don't. You just, like, for me, it just works really well. I think that's the time, and it's not what works well for you, right? Like on Saturday and Sunday, I don't even get up. So unless I'm training you guys, but I catch up on sleep at the weekend. Even if I slept till 7 on a Saturday, it's like it's like 2.5 hours extra sleep.
Yeah,
5 hours over the weekend, and I kind of look at how much sleep I have over a week, not daily.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I was up at 5 today because I wanted to get the bike ride in before the Zoom call. But but that extra half hour feels like a little lying, because it's like we're bang, get up 4:30 every morning. That extra half hour really does feel like you've had.
But your missus is like, what the fuck? Who is this guy?
Yeah, that's it. But yeah.
I love it, mate. Brilliant. I'm really glad you're doing well. Glad to have you on board in the thing. So for the lads watching back as well, what we will do is next week at some point, I'm just going to start adding you to the mastermind. I obviously want to trim this down so the lads can watch this little snippet between you and me, and then they fully understand what's going on.
Okay.
Happy?
Yeah, great stuff.
Good man. All right. If you need anything, just reach out, Glenn.
Nice one. All right. Have a good weekend.
Take care. You too.
See you later, mate. Cheers. Bye-bye.